Hello and welcome. You're watching Greenwich Live Sessions, and this is your host Umar Khan. I'm back with another show, another guest, and another topic. And the topic that we've chosen today is something that is very special. And I think the guest that I'm about to introduce is doing a wonderful job because we here at Greenwich we promote education. We promote that everyone should have an equal chance. And my guest for today is the person who has created that equal opportunity for everyone. So, without any further delay, let me introduce my guest for today. He is Mr. Azeef Malik, who is the head of operations Cornerstones School, Karachi. He is a certified professional to work with students with autism in structured classrooms from the University of North Carolina and teach program. So, welcome to the show, Azeef. Hope you're doing well.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for having me here.
Walaikum salam, and thank you for your time. We also have Ma'am Shazia Nasir with us, who's the head school of linguistics at Greenwich University, and she'll be co-hosting this show with us today. So, welcome to the show, ma'am. Hope you're doing well too.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you for inviting me again. And since this topic is really, really close to my heart, so I would love to be a part of this.
Absolutely. So let's just start off the conversation. First of all, Aziz, we're all in this COVID situation. Life has, changed in quite a way. So how has life and work affected you during COVID-19?
Well, I think like a lot of people are familiar with the work structure right now for schools. Everything has gone online. Um, it's unfamiliar territory for me because I personally have never conducted lessons online. Neither have a lot of my teachers, but Alhamdulillah, it's been going quite well. We have quite a bit of cooperation from the parents as is required with the kids being at home. The kids are doing a fantastic job just being very disciplined with the whole thing. So it's been great. As far as my own situation is concerned, prior to the 1st of June, we didn't have the semester going on. So I was getting to spend a lot of time with the family and then, just coming up with productive things to do during the day.
That's
Spending
absolutely
time with them
wonderful.
now. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. So I'll move to Ma'am Shazia Nasir for the first question. She's since she's doing her PhD in a similar field, and Ma'am, your question to Azifa.
Okay, Azeef, you have done your masters, I suppose, from US in autism, and it's to cater autistic children. It's very tough. I can understand that because I have been, for the past 25 years, I've been teaching in different schools, and in those schools. When I started off, I was also not aware. I'm talking about way back in 91, 92 when I started teaching. And there were students used to, we have students like who were slow learners and who were autistic, but the teachers, and even now, after 25 years, I have experienced that unfortunately, very few schools, a handful, you can say, very few schools can understand what these children or their parents they go through while raising their own children. These autistic children, you are doing a wonderful job. So during this COVID thing, how are you managing to cater to them? Because these children, they need kind of, they need physical hug as well. They need to know they're very close to the teacher. So, what kind of strategies have you applied in doing these in teaching these children?
I think we have some internet disruptions. Aziz, can you hear us? Right. So till Aziz joins us
Okay,
again.
talking about
Yes, I think since Aziz will join us back
yeah,
soon, sometime soon, ma'am, you're also doing your PhD in a relevant.
just to
Yeah, so I was saying that.
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's really Umar. it's very close to my heart since I have seen so many students suffering from either they are dyslexic, they are dysgraphic, they are having problem with their writing, they are slow learners. And in believe you me, in every class there used to be two or three slow learners in the class, uh, and those they go through a lot of emotional setback as well because of the peers around, because even not only the peers, the teachers, they are not aware, and they treat them as if they are saints, they're abnormal children, and to me they are not, they are perfectly fine. It's the way you need to handle them. So Azeef have his.
Yes, so we have Azeef with us again. Azeef, before we you got cut off, ma'am posted a question to you regarding how have you
Right.
adapted according to the situation, and how are you engaging the autistic students in online classes? Azeef.
As of now, we will see the face. We've only been giving one to all, kind of a few. So
Okay.
sorry, can you hear me?
We're having some trouble with the internet again. So till we get fixed, like, ma'am, please continue.
So, if you just go through the statistics, and first of all, let me define what a learning disability is. Now, learning disability is you can say, the notable malfunction in the psychological progression, where a student or a child, he or she is having difficulty in learning, in speaking, in reading, in calculating simple mathematical calculations. So, unfortunately, especially, if you talk about our elite schools, yes, they have different kinds of, they can tell the parents to arrange a resource teacher who is very expensive, and only those parents can afford to hire a resource teacher.
True.
But what about our children who are in the villages? Teachers, they don't know. Even in the elite schools, they don't know. So we need to create awareness about the such kind of students, that they are our part, they are our children, like any other student in the class, they are also part of that. And you must be aware of the United Nations 2030 sustainable, the sustainable development, that out of 17 goals, goal number 4 is particularly for inclusive education, and that says that education is for all,
True.
no matter he is physically disabled or he is mentally disabled, but education is for all. It's not only for the elites, it's not only for the normal. Education is for all, and
I
that we
think
need to understand.
definitely. Asif, can you hear us now? And is your net?
Yes, I'm very sorry about the technical issues.
That's completely fine. We all are in a pandemic situation, so we all can
Yeah, I
relate.
think there's an overload on people working from home these days,
Yes,
so driving all
even
the
this
traffic away.
situation. Yeah. So coming
And
back
this
to
is a time.
and
Yeah.
coming back to Ma'am Shazia's question, that how have you adapted in keeping the autistic students engaged in these online classes?
Right. So we have people who do one-on-one sessions with them at this time, and what's going on is that they have slots, and each child is with them, a few times a week, and they get to catch up on their lessons and anything else that needs to be done. So I was actually building on the point how that defeats the concept of inclusion is that they are not integrated with the rest of the class at this time for their online classes. But I am presently working on coming up with some kind of a strategy to get that also sorted out. It's just a little challenging at this time, but we're doing what we can. It's a whole new concept for us.
Indeed, it is. And when it comes to your school, the Cornerstones School, you're not just dealing with autistic students, you're also dealing with the students with special needs as well. So please highlight that
Mhm.
part of it as well.
Right. So we have a few students in approximately an enrollment of roughly 200 kids. About 30 or so are kids with different needs. And that comprises students with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. You know, aside from that, we have ADHD, dyslexia, and so on and so forth, delayed milestones. So quite a bit of work for us that we have to do in terms of all that, because each child needs to have a very customized work plan. We
Absolutely.
have a whole department that has about 30 or so people who are just committed to working with our different needs setup. So this is a team of resource teachers and two coordinators who only focus on this discipline.
Right, and I would love to know, Azeef, that what motivated you or what inspired you to come to this field? Because uh, a youngster like you, it's very rare to start up something so beautiful, so different, and indeed, this is something that really inspires many now since that you've started it. So, what brought you towards this field?
So, as a matter of fact, Cornerstones has been a fully functional school for close to about 12 years, and it's in fact my mother's baby that she's been running for quite a while. Um, as far as our setup is concerned, it started about 6 or 7 years ago, where we became an inclusive setup. We started enrolling students with special needs. We had parents coming in who were unable to find schooling options elsewhere. It's a very challenging thing. I think being a small school really helps us in that way. So
Right, and
my mom in particular
Aldeep, at the
was
same time, the
telling
internet
her
has
that
been the real
you
challenge
shouldn't be
as
saying
well
no
for
to
this.
these people. You've been given a chance to help a few people out, and just do what you can for the kids.
Absolutely wonderful. I'll move to Ma'am Shazia now, and while we hopefully will fix the issues that we're having technically, since these are live sessions and internet is not very stable around the city and around Pakistan. Even when we had international sessions, there were electricity failure even outside of Pakistan. So Pakistan is not the only place that faces these issues. These are natural issues and they occur anywhere. So, ma'am, as Aziz shared, the whole journey of how we came towards this brilliant idea of serving students with special needs and autism. How important is it, you also being a teacher for 25 years? It's such something so beautiful.
Umar, since I told you that in every class I used to have two or three kids, even at higher level in A levels, O levels, who were either autistic or who were ADHD. Then I started, reading literature about such students. And what happened was that my youngest one, who I have three kids, mashallah, and the elder two, they were, born in the same environment. They were A plus students. But the third one, he was not able to do as well as I was expecting. So being a mom, I started worrying, and then I went to a clinical psychologist, and she recommended. She said, "See, he has his borderline learning disability. He has this borderline learning disability where he is unable to, learn quickly or comprehend if he wants to comprehend the things he is interested in, he comprehends like this. But when it comes to academics, when it comes to learning two paragraphs of Pak studies and Islamiyat and social studies, zero.
Okay,
So then,
I'll add on something to it. I'll add on something to it. I believe that although we have this much detailed diagnosis of disabilities or special needs I would add on to it. But I believe that as a teacher, one can come up with ways to build interest and develop those skills that's why they say these students need special attention and special care. Coming back to Azeef. Azeef, can you hear us again now? Okay, I hope
Yeah,
I
yeah. So
yeah, please continue.
I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to happen again. I hope not. So, as far as I just want to build on what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I believe in integrating a child's interests into their academics. This is, in
Okay.
fact, something that we were taught during my training also. So, like we had kids who I got to work with who were really interested in working, who were really interested in like Star Wars, or there was a child who was very interested in cars and another one who was interested in numbers. So what they did was that they merged those interests into their work plans, into their activities. And what that enabled was the child was, because they were seeing things that they liked in the work, they were more eager to actually do the work, to perform those tasks. So I personally very strongly believe in integrating your interests into things.
Yeah,
Absolutely agree. What would you like to add to this, Ma'am Shazia?
yeah, I totally agree with Azeef. Azeef, the problem in countries like Pakistan is like, you know, they're going to be fine. You're doing a job till grade 8 or 9. You're going to give them separate papers, exam papers. But the problem lies with these kids, and we need to find a solution. I have been fighting for this. Literally, I've been fighting with the British Council. I've been fighting with my own education ministry that please try to understand that these you cannot have you cannot measure all these children with one yardstick. You need to develop certain pathways where they can where these students can pass at least by giving for example mathematics. If a child is dyscalculia, is has been diagnosed with dyscalculia and is unable to do mathematical work, so we need to have some different pathways for him. Number one, the teachers need to take out the strengths in him. Number two, these
Yes,
students
that's true.
need to have some kind of skill based education so that they can go ahead in that. And we have seen, there are many dyslexic students or autistic students. I have my own nephew who is autistic. He is doing wonderful in engineering. He is an A plus student. He's got admission everywhere in the world. But since he's autistic, he's in Pakistan and doing his engineering. But the
I
problem is with our society.
true.
The problem is with our society. Our people, they are not ready to accept these
Exactly.
kids. Yes. And they make fun of them.
This is the exact point I was about to make, and you just said it. That we as society, we as nation, we as people, we have to accept these people. We have to support them because the society and the surroundings and the environment play a very crucial role in the
Yes.
development of these children with special needs. Because I have even I have some few autistic and students with special needs around me, and I've noticed them. They are absolutely brilliant. When you talk to them, they have a different way to express themselves, but the way they observe, the way they note, the way they respond to things, it's absolutely brilliant. What we need to do is we need to understand these people and treat them accordingly, as you just quoted. So it's very important to create that awareness in the environment and society of how to handle them, because the school comes later, the home should come
Exactly.
first. So
Exactly. And according to one statistics, I'll just quote. We all know that 65% of Pakistan population is our youth, comprises of youth, and out of that, 22.8 million children between the age group of 5 to 16 years are out of school. Now, if you take the statistics again, now this is given by UNICEF. Most of the students or the children, especially I'm talking about those studying in public schools, they are, for example, if a child is failing twice or thrice, So the parents are going to take him at, oh, he's not going to do it. He just cannot study without taking into account, without taking into, thinking about his other strengths. No matter it's everyone is not going to get a PhD degree or a master's degree. There are other certain pathways which we all need to join hands to develop such ways. And I'm so happy, and I will share it with I think all the people who are listening, that Greenwich has adopted that way. And credit goes to, once I still remember that I taught, there was this student in our university, and he was, he brought a certificate that I'm unable to, he was dyslexic. I went to the vice chancellor and I had a word with her, and she said, "Go ahead, Shazia, make separate papers for him, because it's not his fault that he is dyslexic." And mashallah, he did well. So it's not, the examination. What kind of examinations we are taking? We are just looking at how well the child has memorized. We are not looking at how much he knows, how much knowledge does he know about anything.
There was
So Azeef is
Yeah.
that was a
So,
famous thing that what we do is we do a test. It was a very famous where there was a monkey, there was a donkey, there was a fish, and there was a frog. And the test was, the exam paper was to climb a tree, right? So everyone is not equal. Someone has some different ability. Someone, fish can swim better than monkey. Monkey can climb tree better than fish. So that's the thing. Azeef, hopefully, the internet is the real challenge today.
I
Rather,
know, but it's a double thumbs up on this one now. So,
continuing with the conversation where we left from.
I've picked up on a bit of it. I agree that you do need to modify the work for a child depending on their capability of how they can do it. I think it's a very unrealistic expectation to believe that just because your child is studying in third grade and his intellectual ability is not particularly on par, you should expect him to be able to do the same lessons. So, it can be modified, a concept can be simplified, but you should not be creating that kind of an unrealistic expectation from a child.
Yes, true. Absolutely true. And Azeef, I think, everywhere in the world, when a teacher is hired, she has to have certain qualification. Whereas in our society, when I joined, I'll be very honest with you. When I joined, I had nothing to do. I said, okay, I just join a school and I do something. There I realized, no, it's not a job where you can say, okay, I'll just go at 8 o'clock, coming back at 2 o'clock, and giving homeworks and then checking. No, it's a lot hell of a responsibility on a teacher. You need to have to cater the emotional understanding and the emotional health of the child. These
Absolutely.
kids, as if you must be knowing that these kids are bullied a lot from
Um,
everywhere.
So just yesterday, I saw a post about a child who underwent that with a group of other students, and I was reading through the whole conversation that he had because he was constantly being added to this group where he was being bullied, and the kind of language used, the acknowledgement, knowing that this is an autistic child, subjecting him to that kind of abuse, it was very disheartening. It was very unsettling. I couldn't get myself to read the whole thread because for me, who works very closely with children with different needs, it was actually quite aggravating. Like I felt angry from what I was
Yeah.
seeing, and that insensitive behavior is something that we really need to address like immediately.
Yes, Aziz. So, what's the plan from now on? You've started something brilliantly, but where to? What's the direction? What's the vision from here on?
So we're still, like I said, we're still in the teething phase. For us, for a small setup, which is very helpful because, we get to know all the students personally. It's a proper family culture at the school. I personally know all the kids by name. And, we get to have that one-on-one. What we really are focusing on is optimizing the way things go right now. For me, I would like to see these kids go and excel in life, to be integrated into society comfortably, because right now they're a very marginalized group which people don't even talk about. They don't really think about them when they think about opportunities and whatnot. So I would like that we can create opportunities for these children in the future, and for that, as a school administrator, it's actually us who are responsible, in tandem with the parents and families, to get them where they need to be.
Absolutely. We'll add on some comments from the audience now. We have with us Sony Meet Chandio, and the message is, unfortunately, that kind of bullying that you were mentioning about earlier is done on every level. No matter you're talking about normal school, college, university, or the special needs students. So it's the culture, it's the mentality that we need to change firstly.
That's true. It definitely is. We need to instill empathy in people.
Indeed.
I think starting young is the best time. I'm a very strong believer of early intervention. I believe that the sooner you can address certain things with children, the sooner you can expose them to certain realities also, and teach them what's good and what's wrong. That's very important. It's more impactful, in my opinion.
Absolutely right. We have a comment from Mr. Tariq Iqbal. He says a good teacher must understand the psychology of every student and treat them according to that. And it's much easier to handle the students if you understand them psychologically, and you connect a bond. So that's a good point there.
Definitely. That's one of the reasons why I personally am happy that Cornerstones is a small school. That's one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of smaller setups actually do tend to have that family culture, because you get to know the students one on one. It's small classrooms. You can have very good teacher to student ratios. Unlike in a lot of places, what happens is you have sections, and each section could have somewhere around 30 to 40 students. And with that, the teacher doesn't really get to give one-on-one time. In I believe in many cases, the teacher doesn't remember a student who was there the previous term in their class also. So you get to kind of eliminate that gap with smaller setup. Everyone knows each other.
That's absolutely right. I'll add on one more comment, and then I'll move to Ma'am Shazia for her last question. So we have with us Sundar Sanwar, who's a literature student. She's a teacher herself and also co-host in our live sessions. She writes, uh, all right, summative examinations can not judge a student. A student is a person, and every person has their place in the world.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
Right. So, Ma'am Shazia, towards your last question, and then we'll wrap up the session.
Yeah. Okay. Azeef. So, what kind of emotional, you can say, help you give to the students and your teachers? What because in every class you must be having, so your ratio to you have first of all, tell me how many students are there in your class, like in one class.
So a class can comprise multiple professionals. That would be the principal teacher, and in addition to the teacher, we have resource teachers. And we have a resource teacher for just one student, or we can have a resource teacher on a sharing basis for a group of students, about no more than 3 students. And what that
That's
enables us to do is have a ratio of an average of maybe 7 kids to one teacher within a classroom.
So that's great. That's great because that's how a teacher can individually cater to each one of their needs. So
Yep.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So I would love to come and visit you.
You're more than
Maybe for
welcome.
my
You and Omar
research.
both.
Yeah, sure, inshallah.
Definitely. And as much as I'm loving this conversation, we have sadly, we're running out of time. And before I leave, Azeef, I just want to ask, or just, it's like kind of a discussion. So, out of this conversation, what I want to add is, I think where we're talking about students at the same time because of the change of technology and change of time and all the situations, I think all the teachers now also have a regular training sessions as well, where they get updated with the whole scenarios and how trends are changing around the globe, so that they can update themselves as well. because we've seen that there are teachers. I'm not blaming anyone, but on a larger scale, we've seen that the education in the 90s or 80s or 70s is a bit different as compared to the modern day education. So it's also important for the teachers to be trained and updated on a regular basis. What would you say on that?
That's actually very true. I believe that there's more empathy and student empowerment in the present academic culture than we've had in the past. Personally, coming through a small school, I've seen how it impacts me positively, um, and seeing now how there's a change because like we've obviously we've worked with teachers uh, who've been teaching for a few decades now, and we have people who've even been a blank canvas for us to train and to develop into teachers. And we've seen that there is a bit of a difference. Alhamdulillah, now everyone does somehow come into the same page, but we've seen from the beginning how there's a difference between the way things used to be done and how it should be done.
And thank you so much, both of you. Thank you so much, Ma'am Shazia. Thank you so much,
Thank
Aziz.
you.
Thank
And
you very much for having me
before
here.
before I end, Aziz, I would just like to add to this that whatever we can do as Greenwich University or our students, we're always there to help you out. You're doing a wonderful job. The thing
Thank
that
you.
you've started, I wish you more strength, more power, and all the best for all the wonderful things that you've
Thank you.
planned for these children. Indeed, you're saving generations. You're helping out those parents who are really worried about the students who want their children to have a normal life. You're creating that bridgeway between these special need children and their normal life. So wonderful job. I wish you all the
Thank you.
best.
Thank you
And
very much.
how was your experience there at the live sessions today?
Well, I wish I could have attended the whole thing. uh, but it was very I really enjoyed it. I always feel very happy to partake in these discussions. um, I like looking for every opportunity to let people out there know that this is a reality and we're still underperforming as a society. In fact, it's a global underperformance. And even in the US, I was noticing there were gaps. People were still unfamiliar, people who do work with these children. So there's a large margin for us to fill, and inshallah, baby steps, we'll be getting there.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So thank you so much. And this was our session from today. We had our co-host, Ma'am Shazia Nasser, who's the head school of linguistics at Greenwich University, and also we had Azeef Malik, who's the head of operation Cornerstone School, Karachi, who deals with the autistic students, and students with special needs. And what a wonderful session this was, because where we talk about equal opportunity is the young guys like Azeef who started this brilliant thing where they're given that equal opportunity to children with special needs, where they can lead a normal life, they can match up the pace with everyone. And personally, if you ask me, I don't think that anyone is different than anyone. There's something by the creator. If someone is less in something, they have this other skill. All we need to do is we need to notice that skill, we need to polish that skill. And from this session, as we said, that as a society, we need to accept, we need to support, and we need to build each other rather than bullying each other or making fun of people who are a little bit less fortunate as we all are. So this was all from our session. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope something inspired you out of this session. So we'll be back tomorrow, and of course with a new topic, with a new guest. And till then, stay safe, keep smiling, stay positive, and Pakistan Zindabad.